Well, hi everyone. Yeah, this is the first video I'm doing in my new home. I never had two homes in a year. Two moves in a year. That's three homes in a year. And this, I'll give you a quick peek, is my new RV, as you call it in the States. Motorhome. My bedroom's down the end. Yeah, yeah. It's the cab. You can't really see, but yeah. Anyway, send my word for it. So, anyway, that's not really relevant. What is relevant is another controversial subject of thoughts that I have had on this subject and thoughts I've had on this subject. And this one is about gender. Now, I've been looking at, the arguments and discussions and reasons and whatever between gender equality and inequality and whatever for a long time. I mean, I'm going to speak about my personal experience with this as a person. I I was born in a squat. Actually, if you know what a squat is, it's a house that's not rented or not owned. It's just a desolate house, and my parents were alternative, poor bums, drug addicts. Broke into this not used house in London, southeast London, in 1979, and had me there, not in hospital. My dad was there. He was a drug addict and a drug dealer. In fact, he was 10 years older than my mum. I was my mum's first child. She was 23. Dad was 33. Whatever. Anyway, cut all that short. My dad was in and out, in and out, in and out. All this manner of things happened, and yeah, it was really rough. And anyway, cut the long story short, by the age of 8, my dad had gone, basically, pretty much. I mean, he would go for 3 days, come back anyway, before then, the whole of my life, so he was never really there in any length of time. My mum would just continually bitch about him and bitch about fucking men. She'd had my brother with a different guy just over a year later. And then another brother, not quite 2 years after that. So we're talking 1980, 1982, 1984, 1986. She had a child every 2 years from 1980 with different fathers. None of them lived with us except my dad, and he was hardly there. So we've grown up, me and my brothers, in what you call a single parent, single mother household environment. And I was watching a video the other day by a guy, Barnabas Nagy, or Barnabas Nagy, whatever his name is, and he was doing a podcast link with a fella, an older fella, I can't remember his name now, but he's like, this older fella is like bang into gender issue of the woman, especially mother, being placed in a position that she shouldn't have been placed in, and that has ruined society. Okay, it sounds a bit strong, doesn't it? It sounds a bit deep. It sounds a bit male chauvinist. It sounds a bit misogynistic, doesn't it? It sounds a bit extreme. Yeah, that's what I thought. So I thought I'd watch it. What's interesting is a lot of the points he made, I didn't really like him or his attitude too much. He was very, very cocksure and arrogant and definite on the subject and his views. So I didn't really like that too much. He didn't leave any room for manoeuvre, really, which I never really liked. That was someone I always like to, come on, leave room for manoeuvre, and in fact, you may be wrong, just maybe. But no, he didn't do that. So I didn't really, but I did agree with a lot of what he said. I thought it was very, very interesting in general. In a nutshell, he believes that women, mothers, are completely living wrong to how they should. They're being treated wrong. Their attitudes are wrong. Their sense of entitlement is wrong. And when they are having children, especially boys, and the fathers aren't hanging around because the mothers chose wisely or because she just shouldn't have fucking had kids when she didn't plan it, blah, 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 whatever the reasons, the dad leaves. And he's showing the damage that's doing. And he said, he gave some statistic about over the last 30 years, prisons. This was in America. He was talking that the prisons male prisons, it's something like over 80% come from broken homes. That's a startling statistic, I will say. That is that's worrying, very sad as well. Sorry, my dog is just climbing everywhere like a climbing frame here. Stop it, you. Sit down. Everything does. Silly dog. Hang on, wait a minute. Off. Go to bed. Go to bed. Over there. Off. 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 Looky, off. Sorry about this, guys. What are you doing? Right, now you can come here. Come here now, sit. Right, anyway, sorry about that. Right, we're under control. Yeah, that's very, very sad and very worrying. That that can't be a coincidence. That can't be, that can't be irrelevant. The fact that inmates in prisons are, are almost all children from single parent households and broken homes. That cannot be unrelated. And it wasn't just broken homes; it was fatherless. I mean, the whole thing about father figure and role models, and this thing, for boys, especially, we were talking boys here, so we're going to talk about father role models. It's very important, I think, and the way that humans develop. We're not like cats and dogs, or that say they grow very fast and they're able to be independent and self-sufficient, look after themselves very quickly from birth. We're not like that, and therefore, we also have society, and we have rules, and we have politics, and we have all this structure set up, laws. If you, how you get on in that is, I'm not patronising you here. I'm just sort of setting the grounds for my thoughts. How we get on in this society that's been constructed that we live in is all going to be really based around, how you're brought up, into how how you're shown how to deal with it, what you've been told, what you've been taught. This is, there's, it's the old nurture nature debate, isn't it? The two things, but we need to talk about nurture at the moment, because what you're shown is all you'll ever really know until you leave home. Do you know what I mean? So those first few years of your life are absolutely crucial to development. And if there's no father, and you're a young boy, and you see your mother struggling, possibly bringing other random men into the house, probably, and a lot of those men, I'm not saying all or anything like that, but I don't think you're going to get many men that, hand on heart, honestly, are going to get into a relationship with a woman with a small male child and genuinely be interested in taking on that child and loving that child, treating that child as if it were their own. Because most of the time, that guy will get that woman pregnant and another child will come, as what happened with me and my family, and he'll want his own. It's almost like maybe it's sort of like a subconscious, possibly conscious too, stamp of authority, as if to say, another man's been here, he's bred with this woman, now she's my woman, I have to breed with her too, or he will always be more important than me. I'm just saying that could be a factor here, of dominance and of territory and of, power. But what happens then is those two kids end up, I hope the truth is told, and they know they come from different fathers, different dads. And is the original dad ever on the scene? Does he come in and see ever? If he does, it could almost be worse, because then you're dealing with the conflict between the new man, the new child, the old dad. You can see all the problems coming up here. And irrespective of the new fathers, let's say for example, you just got the one woman has the first child, the dad leaves, and she doesn't get another guy that comes in the house permanently and gets her pregnant. But when my mum, and I've seen this a lot as well, the woman has this like kind of hatred because of the experience for men, because of the bad, the bad experience, the bad connotations, and she voices that a lot. And understandably so, but the problem is the kid picks up on that. So, most of these kids grow up, hearing that men are bastards, men are useless, your dad was a bastard, and then when you badly behave, and I got this as well, you're just like your fucking father. It's a saying that's said a lot, so So that quick smoke break, and yeah, it's something that's said a lot, and that's really really awful. And I've got to admit, when I was little, and my mum would be having a massive meltdown, and she wouldn't have had any money, and maybe the gyro hadn't turned up, or gyro, that's the benefit check, welfare check, whatever you call it in America. And yeah, she'd be having a massive stress, and everything would be rubbish, and I'd maybe making a mess or something, and then it would be, fucking men, rah, 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 rah. And of course, everything would be my dad's fault for not being there. And if he was there, turned up, then it would be his fault as well. And he'd get it in the neck because, he was, yeah. And I'd hear this, and I like I said, I got to admit, I never was sad about this. Maybe I'm weird. I never, ever, ever got down about this. I just thought, okay, whatever, yeah. I kind of understood because I'm weird. I was born a little old man. I was born very advanced. By the way, I don't think that's particularly a good thing, and I'm not being arrogant about that whatsoever. I'm just explaining the truth. So I saw what was going on. I did see what was going on, and yeah, I was at peace with it. I mean, it's all I knew, wasn't it? So maybe that's the reason. But I was also very aware of the fact that my mum didn't make any sense when she was saying you're just like your fucking father and bloody men and men are bastards and all men are bastards and don't grow up like your father and fucking treat women the way he does and rah, rah, rah. Which I will just say as well, my dad, I knew of the story. He had over 26 kids with different women. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, he was spreading it about, to say the least. But he never physically treated my mum badly. I never really even heard him shout that much. So this definitely wasn't like a physically abusive, tyrannical relationship of a guy 10 years older with a woman. It wasn't like that. He just had priorities, which was heroin, that was far out, did anything else, sadly. But anyway, it is what it is. But yeah, the whole, you grew up like your dad and you're bastard, treat women like... I don't think that did me any good. Because one thing I will say is that I found it difficult. I mean, I had really long hair. I mean, we have long hair. I started school a year early when I was 4, primary school. And you know what? I was so excited to go to school because I thought, oh, it's going to be brilliant. I'm going to get to, do stuff and, meet other kids. And because Mum was very protective, she wouldn't really let us out at all. I was only 4, come on. But I was really excited about it. I really was. And I went there and my world was shattered in the first day because nobody had long hair. And I didn't think that was going to be such anything, but it really was. And I was just laughed at and bullied straight away. And yeah, that was surprising to me. And yeah, that was devastating. I remember it very clearly. And so I came home from that, and I was in bits. My first day, and I didn't want to go back. And that really gave me a bitter outlook on the school and of kids and of people and of the world, the outside world. It really did, especially as the teachers did nothing. I tried telling them, and I was really, really. I remember I was really. I'm a very sensitive, emotional person. I'm not afraid to admit that. Probably because I've been brought up by my mother. Yeah, I remember I was crying. I was like so upset at school because these people were horrible to me, calling me names and stuff. And I remember telling the teacher, well, the teacher came over, what's the matter? And I remember they were almost. I could tell they were almost like. Thought I couldn't see. They'd sort of look at each other and sort of smirk, like, "Oh, isn't it sweet? Isn't it funny?" He's like, "This is what happens when you put a 4-year-old here," kind of thing. I could read their minds, and I could see the looks on their face. They thought I didn't notice, and I just that was like the cherry on the cake, like, right, so you're just joining in, you're just condoning it. I mean, I know, come on, they're teachers, they probably see bullying all over, and to them that was like, oh, come on, he's got to go through this lot, dude. But I didn't really go through it. I didn't deal with it at all. And I went home and yeah, I was devastated. I mean, you really do get suicidal infants. Trust me, I was one. And yeah, I remember saying things and feeling things, saying I don't want to be here, and this is like my life. I was looking forward to this, and this is where I have to be because all children do. I remember saying all this when I was like 4 years old, and just saying I can't do that though, so I can't be here because I don't want to be home. I didn't want to be at home either, Yeah, I felt absolutely fucked, basically. It was horrible, and you know what? I just wanted to die. And that was such an awful thing to say. And yeah, okay, maybe I'm a big melodramatic, but yeah, that's how it was. And anyway, so I grew up, and my brothers came along, and I didn't really entertain that. But of course, we hang out and we played at home, and we were still very poor. And Mum had different, but she had a boyfriend, a guy after that that came in that wasn't a father to one of them, to one of my brothers. And then in '93, she got another guy in that lived with us. She's only lived with, I think, 3 other guys and my dad, so 4 men I think have lived in my house like with her long term. The one in '93 came along, the third one, and he was my dad. Then there was this one in '93, Thierry, French guy. He was younger than her. He was like 25, 26, so he was a bit of a toy boy, to be honest, for my mum. She was got to be 30, 36 she was. So yeah, he was 10 years younger than her this time. She got pregnant straight away, had my little brother. And I noticed that thing happen where Thierry, I was 13, we got on well, but as mates, you know? I mean, I'm 13, he's 26, he introduced me to all the drugs and everything, and smoke weed and all that sort of thing, which I love. That's a separate story. Anyway, but I could see after a year or so, I mean, the first day he came, he was drunk, he was an alcoholic and a drug addict. I know, she picks him, doesn't she? And I had a fight with him on the first day at 13. I had a physical fight with this guy. I mean, he come from an orphanage as well. Forget his story, but yeah, he was fucking wild and fucking hard. This Frenchman, yeah. But he was in my house and he was like bouncing on the sofa with my little brother on his shoulders, drunk. First day he come and my mum's laughing. They're laughing. I'm just not finding this funny, thinking, that's our sofa. The fuck is this guy? What do you think he's doing? You walk into someone's house and you start jumping on the fucking sofa. The sofa's old, man. It's all we've got. I can see it's gonna break. And I didn't really care about the sofa. It was just a principle, So of course, I just lost my temper and offered him out. I'm pretty crazy, aren't I? I'm pretty feisty, yeah. But instead of him, I mean, if I was him, I wouldn't be. But if I was, and this 13-year-old who's the oldest in the house, and he's come from a broken fucking existence, yeah. I would not have turned around. I mean, he was drunk. No, excuse me again though. I would not have turned around when this 13-year-old in his house shows concern over damage, over behaviour, over safety, and loses temper. I would not have turned around like he did and accepted the fight. Yeah. And I mean, at the time, I was not surprised. I was not scared, disappointed. I'd offered him a fight, so I fucking wanted a fight. Yeah. I wanted, as the man of the house, to show this fucking guy that he has stepped over the line, right, with my family. Now, my mum, of course, my mum's fucking loud-mouthed and very dominant and exceptionally stubborn, self-righteous, everything, you name it, right, yeah? But she's a lovely woman, really is at heart. She's just, yeah. She doesn't like try and, I mean, she didn't sit on the fence, but she more sided with him than with me and told me off. Started yelling at me for offering this fight and to go to bed, go upstairs and whatever. And of course, he's accepting the fight while I'm doing this. And I'm thinking, all right then. So he comes over and he starts being all cocky. I remember my little brother's still on his shoulders and he's like, starts asking me if I want to slap, right, yeah? If I offer him a fight, oh, you want to slap? And I'm just like, yeah, I fucking do. I do then, yeah, come on then. Come over and give me one of your slaps, you cunt, come on then. And of course, my mum then is yelling at me from my mouth, right? And telling me to go. She ain't said a word to him yet, right? I remember this clear as day. So anyway, he takes my little brother off his shoulders, jumps over the sofa. He's fucking quick and agile. I mean, he was like a cat, this guy. I'm telling you, like, I mean, I grew to love him. We became very, very, very close, like brothers. And I went through a lot. And I went to his wedding last year, actually, with another woman, yeah. So proud of him. But anyway, he fucking jumps over the sofa like a cat and just comes at me, you know what I mean? I'm like, fuck that. So I just stick one on him and we start fighting. And my mum comes over and splits it up. And, yeah, I get sent to my room. Which then, by that point, I'm happy to do. Because I've proved, in my mind, I was like, look, at a principle, I've fucking shown you, mate, that you don't come in my house and do that. Okay? I don't care about the fight. I don't care about any of that. I just care about the fact as a man that stepped into my house, I'm not going to take that, and you should respect that. You know what I'm about now, right? And to me, I wasn't a 13-year-old boy. I was me. Age didn't come into it. Size, anything that came into it. I was nearly 6 foot tall at the time. I haven't really changed. I'm 6'1" now, and I don't think I was much different then to I am now. But anyway, looking back on it, what the fuck? I mean, what the fuck? I mean, you're probably watching this, and like, if I was watching this now as someone else, you know, I'd be thinking, that guy is a total prick. And I'd be thinking also, this guy telling the story when he was a kid was a fucking nutter. Well, you'd be right on both accounts, you know. But, hey, you know, it is what it is. It happened. But that was one little story, anyway, of that. And I agreed to really get on with him. I think he did really respect me after that. You know, we talked about it, and he really did. And he, yeah, he never, ever was bad, you know, bad to my mum. Like, he wasn't a violent man or anything. From that story, you can hear that he'd be up for a fight. But yeah, he never hit my mum. I've never encountered that, thank God for them, because otherwise, oh my God, I'd probably be dealing with a fucking murder charge or two on my hands. Do you know what I mean? If anyone touched my mum, if a guy came in my house and tried to hit my mum, I mean, oh dear, you know, I pray no one did, because yeah, I'm really not going to stand for that. And I got 3 other brothers as well. That guy's really not going to get on well if he does that, is he? So anyway, that didn't happen. But yeah, this guy was just a layabout, you know. And of course, there was no. I mean, he was a chef by training, but he was an absolute hedonist, and it has rubbed off on me. I've got to admit, because I grew up with him, and I did all the drugs for the first time, pretty much with him. And he just loves getting off his head, you know, every day. So yeah, there wasn't a lot of work going on in my house at all. My mum's an avid gardener. She was nearly always in the garden when she could. She'd drag him out there to help. But money, my mum can't make money. She can't make money. And you think, and now looking at it, like, Mum, why did you have 6 kids if you can't make money? Oh, because you got money from the state for all the kids, maybe. Look, I don't know whether she premeditated, did that. I don't think she did it for that reason. I really don't think so. I think that's so fucked up. If any woman did that, had a kid, just, literally, and the reason, the main reason, was, or the only reason, was to get money for benefits for that kid. If any woman does that or did that, oh my, I gotta tell you right now, no respect for that, okay? That is fucking out of order. Okay, not for the benefits system, not for the scrounging, quite simply for that kid, you know? It's gonna grow up in that environment and one day have to know the truth, or it'll work it out and go, see, you had me to buy a little bit more weed. Okay. Well, anyway, Mum didn't do it for that reason, I don't think. So, it was hard. It was really hard. It really was hard. And the whole, you know, like I say, the whole point is just the fact that I had so many issues, psychological issues. I mean, I was so disruptive at school. I never skipped school, you know, and I was put in the clever classes. I wasn't in the, you know, but I was, oh my goodness. I mean, I broke records, you know, and I'm very ashamed of this, you know, and angry with myself for wasting a potential, you know, really. But it is what it is. I'm here now, and hey, no regrets and all that. I was always in trouble, like always. I still am. I thought once I left school it would stop. It hasn't. Anyway, that's a different thing. Yeah, I went to school every day. I didn't skip school, but I was, you know, I was getting the bullying stopped because of the way I deal with it. Though I entered a no tolerance policy, and I started smashing people up for picking on me, and I was sticking up for myself. It worked, but it made me feel terrible. And I abhor violence. I really do, and it scares me, it sickens me, it disappoints me, it just saddens me, and unfortunately I've had a very violent past, you know, from the age of sort of 7. I hurt a lot of people physically, you know, at school, and out of school, for picking on me, mainly, you know, and even sometimes maybe for not doing a lot, because it got to be a bit of a habit, and it got to be an assertion thing, an assertive thing. I wanted to prove myself. I'd target the most popular or supposed hardest kids at school or in the town, and I want to know what they were about, and I'd want to meet them, and they'd either be my mate or I'd want to fight them. And that sounds pathetic, doesn't it? And it is pathetic, yeah. But that's very animal instinct, I've noticed. Like, lions, for example, in the pride, the hardest one was to challenge the main one and then take over the pride of the women and whatever. And I was doing that without realising. It wasn't really conscious, But yeah, I was super interested with who the top dog was and why and how they're going to be to me. That led obviously to a lot of problems and situations. So whilst it's going on, I'm doing drugs every day. I'm going to school, stones, coming back home, on it again, off into Amesbury town, getting stoned. Oh right, who's this new guy who's turned up? All right, yeah, that was my life. And I go home to, my mum continually ranting. She'd wake up early bird every day, right? Yeah, she loved her gardening. It's all she has, but big gardens. And she's fucking good at it, so I will give her that. Yeah, she brought us up physically very well from this organic food and everything. Beautiful. Moved us out of London at the age of 6. When I was 6, to this opposite little village, middle of nowhere in Wiltshire, and grew all our own organic vegetables and everything. And well, what a physically amazing start, for me and my brothers. Do you know what I mean? And we hated it because we were like, no, this is one of the reasons we get bullied. We just want to go to school and have crisps and chocolate bars, club and the club bar and whatever it is, whatever. We wanted what the other kids had so badly, and most of them were like, they come from yuppie families, 2.4 nuclear families. The dad's a plumber, the mum's a fucking carer or something, and they've got a car and a Range Rover, and she's a part of the Mothers Union, and they'll go to the Harvest fucking, service, and meh, 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 and they'll all know each other. I'm not dissing it. I'm just saying my mum did not engage in any of that. My mum would come walking to school with no car, pick us up in her fucking German paratrooper boots and a home-knitted rainbow sweatshirt, and we'd walk 2 miles home through the villages while the other kids would pass us in their cars going home laughing. Not just that, she'd also have a pushchair, a 2-seater pushchair with her. Not for 2 kids, that would have been, bad enough. Oh no, for logs, for our open fire. So we'd have to collect wood all the way home. Yeah. And my mum was lovely. Don't get me wrong. She's not abusive. Well, not abusive, but she does rule with a bit of an iron fist. I mean, you fucking do what she says. She's she don't fuck about. My mum, she's 5'10", a fucking, bitter gypsy woman. Yeah, you don't really mess with my mum. We collected the wood, and I fucking hated it. I hated my life. I found an outlet in drawing. I was really good at that. I'm not being arrogant. I'm fucking good at that. And I loved music. And art class, music class, oh dear, nope. Because I loved them and they were shit, badly done, I was in trouble in them a lot. Every lesson, in fact. And anyway, yeah, I will get to my teenagers when this French guy's moved in. I'm 13, of this fight, whatever, doing the drugs, whatever. He's then a bum, just supposed to be working as a chef, but he keeps losing jobs because he can't get up in the morning. And blah, blah, blah. I know, and chefs start fucking 11 as well, or 10, 11, and he can't get up in the morning ever. It's just terrible. Yeah, I just wasn't getting on well in society.